Every year, parents spend hundreds of dollars on confidence-building camps, self-esteem workbooks, motivational posters for bedroom walls, sticker charts that promise to turn a shy kid into a bold one. And most of it does almost nothing. Here's the part nobody tells you. The thing that quietly builds or breaks a child's confidence isn't a program. It's not a class. It's something that happens in your home, in tiny moments, dozens of times a day, and most parents never even notice they're doing it wrong. Researchers who study child development have been watching parent-child interactions for decades, frame by frame, sometimes literally counting seconds of eye contact. And what they found wasn't about grand gestures. It was about something so small it's almost invisible. Something we're going to call the repair moment. Stay with me, because once you see this, you'll notice it everywhere. Here's the simple version. A repair moment is what happens right after you get it wrong with your child, not the getting it wrong itself. Picture this. You're rushing to get out the door. Your 4-year-old is telling you for the third time about a beetle he found on the sidewalk. You say, uh-huh, without really looking up because you're searching for your keys. He goes quiet. His shoulders drop just slightly. That's it. That's the whole moment. Most days, it passes, and nobody thinks about it again. But here's why it matters so much. A child's sense of I matter isn't built in the big moments, the birthday parties, the vacations. It's built in thousands of these tiny exchanges, where a child sends out a signal, a bid for attention, and either gets met or gets missed. Developmental researchers call these bids, and what predicts a confident, secure kid isn't whether every bid gets a perfect response. It's whether the missed ones get repaired. Your brain and your child's brain are both wired to notice rupture and to heal from it, if you know how. Dr. Edward Tronick, a developmental psychologist, ran an experiment that changed how researchers understand this. It's called the still face experiment. In it, a parent plays normally with their baby, warm, responsive, full of expression. Then, on cue, the parent's face goes completely blank. No smiles, no reactions, nothing. Within seconds, the baby notices. They try harder to get a reaction, pointing, babbling, reaching out. When nothing comes back, the baby becomes visibly distressed. The takeaway in plain English is this. Babies aren't just watching what you do, they're constantly checking whether their signals land. And this isn't about wealth or resources. A parent with 2 jobs and no money for enrichment classes can offer this kind of responsiveness just as fully as a parent with every advantage. Presence doesn't cost anything. Here's where it gets hopeful, because Tronick didn't stop there. In later versions of the study, after the still face, parents were allowed to reconnect. They picked their baby back up, softened their expression, responded again. And almost immediately, the baby's distress eased. The relationship recovered. Tronick's research went on to show something remarkable. In typical daily life, parents and babies are actually out of sync, misreading each other's cues, more often than they are in sync. Something like 70% of normal interaction involves some kind of mismatch. A cry misunderstood, a smile missed. It sounds alarming until you hear the rest. What mattered for healthy development wasn't avoiding all those mismatches. It was whether they got repaired afterward. Kids who grew up with parents who reliably reconnected after a disconnection became the most securely attached, the most confident to explore the world on their own. So if you've ever snapped at your kid after a long day or missed a bid for connection while distracted, this isn't a story about your failure. It's a story about what happens next. Here are 3 simple steps any parent can start today, and none of them require anything you don't already have. Step 1 is notice. Watch for the small signal a bid gives off, a shift in your child's voice, a pause after they've said something and you haven't responded, a slight droop in their posture. These signals are easy to miss because they're quiet. Kids rarely announce, "I feel unseen right now." It shows up instead as a repeated question, a tug on your sleeve, a story told for the 3rd time. Training yourself to notice is really just training yourself to slow down for 2 seconds before you move on to the next task. Step 2 is respond, and this is where repair actually happens. It doesn't need to be elaborate. If you realize you brushed past your child's bid, you can simply go back to it. You might say, "Wait, tell me about that beetle again. I want to hear it." Or if you snapped earlier, something as simple as, "I was frustrated a minute ago and that wasn't about you. I'm sorry. Can we start over?" That single sentence does enormous work. It shows your child that connection isn't fragile. It can bend and come back. Step 3 is sustain, which means making repair a normal, expected part of your relationship, rather than a rare event. This isn't about achieving some perfect streak of attentiveness. It's about consistency in the pattern of missing and returning. Over weeks and months, a child starts to internalize a quiet, powerful belief. Even when connection breaks, it comes back. That belief becomes the emotional floor a confident child stands on. Each of these steps takes less than a minute. No app, no worksheet, no special time set aside. Just a pause, a sentence, and the willingness to come back.
Compare this to the confidence-building toys and camps parents spend money on. A workbook can teach a child to name their feelings. It can't teach them that someone will come back when things go sideways. That only comes from repeated, lived experience with you. Remember that repair moment we started with? The beetle, the missed glance, the tossed over your shoulder? It was never really about the beetle. It was about whether connection is something your child can trust to hold. You are not failing every time you miss a bid. You will miss plenty. What your child needs isn't a parent who never looks away from them. What they need is a parent who comes back, who kneels down later and asks about the beetle, who says, "I'm sorry," out loud, in a small, ordinary voice on a small, ordinary evening. Those are the moments that quietly become the floor a whole personality gets built on. A grown adult, years from now, walking into a room a little steadier, a little more willing to be seen, because somewhere back in early childhood, connection kept coming back. If this shifted how you think about the small moments in your day, consider subscribing. Every week, this channel breaks down the hidden science behind everyday parenting, the things that quietly shape who your child becomes. And if this helped you see something new, a like helps another tired, loving parent find it too. Confidence isn't bought. It's rebuilt, one small repair at a time.